Hi there, Chris here. I have this very, very, very cool 3D printed lock, and Tony Worrall sent this to me. These are brilliant. He sent me this version and this version, and they come with different pins, just like locks do, so that you can demonstrate how the lock reacts with different pins in it. Here's some for this version. This is a serrated spool, a regular spool. I have the standard driver in there and a serrated pin. So I'm going to show how this works. This is our lock, and basically it is just like a lock. You have your keyway, you have some pins in there, and up here you have your driver and your spring, which is right here. So, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I really thank you, Tony. These are amazing. Anyway, the way they work is you can tension the lock here, just like we would with a tensioner, and this will be my pick, and so we're going to go in and try and pick this pin. So we put a little tension on it. If we don't put any tension on it, there's no way to set that pin, that driver pin. So put a little bit of tension on there and start trying to set our pin, and we've set our pin. That's brilliant. A little spring and everything. Okay, so and that's our nice little click that we get when we set one, and we get the core rotation. So if we want to set a driver pin or a different type driver pin, we could change that out and just shove it out the side here. So let's see what happens if we put in a spool. Or we have Suki jumping on the table. Hi, Suk. I don't think I can do this with only one hand. There we go. So we'll load our little pin in there, and this will be our serrated pin. And then we'll put our key pin back in. So, what happens if we have a serrated pin? Suk, you're gonna wreck everything here. All right, Suk. Okay, so we have a serrated pin in here. We have a little core movement because it traps on these little serrations. So as we push this up, you hear that little click? And that's what we get when we start setting a serrated pin. And then we think, hey, maybe I'm set, because our key pin is free, but we're not open. So we keep trying on it. We get another little click. Not open yet. And then that final really good click that you get when you set a serrated pin. All right. Let us put a spool in here. We can get Fatso Catso out of the way. So we'll put in a spool. Like I say, these are brilliant. And now we'll put our key pin back in. And we'll poke the cat. All right, so when you've picked a standard pin and then you come up on your spool, you see how we have a little bit of rotation, so you pick your standard pin, and as you set that, you pick into the middle of the spool. Pardon me. So when we attempt to set the spool, this is why we get this counter rotation. You can see that spool wants to go through the passage, but it can't, so it starts. You move up with your key pin, and it forces the core into counter rotation. And as you feel that counter rotation, you want to let off some of the tension so you can set it. So we'll do that again. Counter rotation, let it rotate a little bit, and then you can set your spool. So when you're picking, it's a good idea not to just have locked down one tension. It's a good idea to kind of feel what's going on and adjust your tension all the time. If you watch really, really good pickers, you'll see that they're just not, locked down on their tension all the way. They're moving it, they're testing it, they're maybe even feathering it back and forth a little bit. And of course they do that so that they can set difficult pins. All right, now move fatso for a second. So now we have a spool that has some serrations on it. And we find these. We find those in like American locks. So you've picked into your spool and you're pushing up. Oh, counter rotation. Oh, there's a spool in there because, this is all we can see when we're picking. So we have to feel and we have to adjust our tension. So as we're going up, we feel up. I felt the click. I'm set. No, it's the serration in the spool that has fooled us. So then we have to release more tension to get it set. This thing is brilliant. It gives the visual to what we're trying to feel and what we're trying to do when we're encountering locks and trying to get them picked. And it demonstrates perfectly the different states of a lock. So right here, we're just we're on the shoulder of that spool. See if I can get it to do that. Now it's right there, but that would be a standard pin feel. But if you see how you get that little bit of rotation, then let it go just a little bit so you can set. Anyway, I don't know how many times I can say it, but these are brilliant. We'll put the other one in here. We can get fatso off here. Now this one has a big spool in it. Let's put in a mushroom pin. Let's get this adjusted for here. All right, so I'm gonna have to move these over one and these over one. And I think this should accommodate it. Yeah. All right, we still there? Yes. Okay. So on this one, this is our tensioner. And of course we have a spool in here. We'll do a mushroom in a second. And of course this is our core and our warding that's in the way. Gives us grief. Speaking of in the way, Sook. Anyway, so I put a little bit of counter on there. And you see how put a little bit of tension on there. You see how that counter forces it back. And then finally, we get the set. So now, let's see. I just got these, so I'm not Not 100% sure. Let's see, how do these come out? Oh, okay, it comes out, this comes out the back. So we can keep our pin, change this, find our mushroom, shove our mushroom up in there, and this comes back in. If I can move it out of the way, there we go. So now we have our mushroom in there. So what we're gonna feel is we're gonna feel that we have a little bit of core rotation, and as we move up, it moves up on that mushroom, and we keep going, then it feels like it's solid. Our core is right where it started, as if that were a standard pin. And if we drop back down, then we have our false set. So if you find that it goes up and then it stops as you're picking it, you counter to where it would be a standard pin, and then it stops, nothing happens, then you're probably on a mushroom. So what you need to do is to keep going. You keep going, and that's how mushrooms sort of, fool you. And that's how you get that set. Anyway, I totally thank you, Tony. These are, like I say, these are brilliant. And to be able to actually see what we try and feel every day as we're picking our locks, it's wonderful. Anyway, I was very tickled to be able to get this and show you, and certainly leave a comment. Check out Tony. I don't know if I can't remember. He doesn't have too many videos, but he's a absolutely wonderful guy. And Suki agrees, don't you, Suk? Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, and we will see you next time.